the master of the still drop. In the beating heart of the Iron City, where massive gears never stopped grinding in the thick, black smoke choked the morning sky, lived a master blacksmith named Elias. At 27, Elias had everything a man could desire: wealth, respect, and a craft second to none. But behind the fire of his forge, his soul was a chaotic furnace of anxiety. His mind was a relentless machine of what-ifs. Every heavy strike of his hammer was echoed by 1,000 loud, intrusive thoughts. He was haunted by the failures of his yesterday, and paralyzed by the shadows of a future he couldn't control. He lived in a constant, deafening blur of noise. He would stare into the white-hot coals for hours, yet feel only a cold, hollow ache. Sleep was a luxury he could no longer afford. His eyes were sunken, and his spirit was becoming brittle, like overheated, low-quality steel. One gray morning, driven by a final, desperate spark of hope, Elias abandoned his forge. He left the gears behind and traveled to the very edge of the great ocean. There, perched on a jagged, lonely cliff, stood the temple of the silent tide. It was the home of a legendary monk, a man who had once been the greatest architect of the capital, now a simple, quiet guardian of the horizon. Elias climbed the 1,000 stone steps, his heart heavy with the crushing weight of his own mind. Every step was a struggle against the voices in his head. Through the salt spray and the howling wind, he sought the one thing no blueprint could ever build: true serenity. He found the monk sitting at the very edge of the abyss, where the sky meets the sea. The old man was as motionless as the ancient stone beneath him. He didn't look like a man who was hiding from the world. He looked like a man who had finally, deeply, understood it. "Master," Elias spoke, his voice nearly lost in the roar of the waves. "My mind is a factory of noise. I am breaking under the pressure of my own thoughts. Please, is there a way to find stillness in this chaos?" The monk opened his eyes, clear and vast as the deep ocean. "You do not seek stillness, Elias. You seek presence. Stillness is the result. Presence is the path. Come, I have a test that will forge your mind into something unbreakable." The monk took a polished silver plate and placed a single, heavy drop of amber oil exactly in the center. The oil shimmered in the light, so delicate that even a slight, nervous tilt would send it sliding to the edge. "Carry this," the monk whispered, his voice steady. "Walk to the old lighthouse at the farthest end of the cliff path, and return. But hear me well. If that drop of oil touches the silver rim, or falls into the dust, your journey here is over. You will have failed the lesson." Elias felt his breath tighten in his chest. He took the plate with hands that had spent a decade swinging heavy iron hammers. Now, they had to be as light as a feather, yet as steady as the earth itself. He began his walk. The cliff path was a brutal sensory assault. The ocean crashed against the rocks below with a thunderous, terrifying roar. Gulls screamed overhead, diving like white arrows through the thick mist. The wind tugged at his clothes, trying to throw him off balance, trying to steal the oil from the plate. A group of pilgrims hurried past him, their voices loud, laughing and distracting. But Elias saw nothing of the world. He heard nothing of the noise. His entire existence, his very soul, was anchored to that tiny, shimmering circle of amber oil. Step by step, he felt the world begin to fade away into a gray mist. He was no longer a man walking on a cliff, he was the balance itself. The hammers in his head stopped. The smoke in his mind cleared. For the first time in years, there was only the oil, and the path, and the now. After what felt like a lifetime of focused silence, Elias returned to the monk. He exhaled a long, steady breath, a breath he felt he had been holding for miles. "I have returned, Master. The oil has not moved a single inch." The monk smiled, his gaze turning slowly to the infinite horizon. "A master's work, indeed. But tell me, Elias, did you feel the cold salt on your skin? Did you hear the ancient song of the ocean? Did you see the whales breaching in the deep blue, far below?" "No," Elias replied softly. "I saw only the oil. I heard only the rhythm of my own slow, Steady steps. Semicolon. The monk stood and looked Elias directly in the eye. That, blacksmith, is the forge of peace. You traveled across the world to find a secret, but you found the truth of the now. When your mind is fully occupied by the present moment, the ghosts of your past and the shadows of your future simply vanish. They cannot exist where the now is king. In those steps on the cliff, you were not an anxious man. You were not a tired man. You were simply the moment, and in that moment, you were truly free. Elias stood in the golden spray of the crashing waves, transformed from the inside out. The violent furnace in his head had cooled into a calm, steady, and purposeful flame. He understood now. Peace is not the absence of the storm. It is being the quiet center of it. It is holding the silver plate of your life so truly that the world's chaos only serves to highlight your inner stillness. Elias eventually returned to his forge in the Iron City. But the world felt different to him now. The gears still ground, and the smoke still rose. But he had learned to carry the amber drop within. He had finally learned how to silence the noise by simply being present. If this journey ignited a spark of peace in you today, please like this story. Share this wisdom with another soul currently trapped in the noise. Subscribe to Timeless Tales Realm as we continue to explore the ancient paths to modern peace. Stay steady, stay present, stay peaceful.